Using ND filters on your drone may seem a little bit confusing at the beginning. Luckily, I'm back with my radio voice to help you out on this one. It's not as difficult and as confusing as you may think. It's actually very, very simple. All I do is I basically judge my screen, and I've been doing that forever. So if you want your image to have a blown out sky, for example like right here, and expose for the buildings, that's fine. It's your artistic choice. And look at him. I think he knows. Oh no, I think he's lost his drone. Yeah, he's lost it. Actually, don't listen to him. He probably doesn't know what he's talking about. Let's listen to Phil. Right, here we go.
Right guys, so I've had a ton of questions about how to correctly expose your ND filters on your DJI Mini 2 or any drone for that matter. And I'm going to be honest and completely straight up. I've been doing photography for about 22 years and I've not once used the histogram to expose my image. I'm being straight up. I don't use it. I use it when I edit photos in Lightroom. So I'm just going to basically show you how I do it when I get to a place. So like, for example, I'm here at the moment, I'm at the seaside and it is stunning out here. And yeah, so I'm going to take my drone out. I'm going to quickly show you what this looks like and you'll be able to see. All right. Whew. Hands are frozen. So we've got our drone. I'm going to unpack it, take all this jazz stuff off. We're going to get out our controller. So let's get that guy in there. And somewhere on my person, I have a battery. So it's nice and warm. So we're going to stick the battery in there. Remember, if you're flying in these conditions, which are really cold, you should have a nice warm battery. Right, we've got that in there. Whew, absolutely frozen hands. Let's get this guy out. And remember, when you're flying, first activate your phone, then your remote. So we're going to turn our phone on, unlock it, like that. And then we are going to turn on our drone, if my fingers won't freeze. Let's have a look. Drone is now turned on. Right, so now that we've got all that kind of ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out my freewell filters, which are in here. And another thing I'm actually going to do is find a spot where I can set him down for a second. There we go. And as you can see, the screen is completely, and I mean like completely blown out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to press record. Where is record? There we go.
Let me just pause Phil for a second. Go into video, choose 25 FPS if you're in Europe, 24 in America, change shutter to 1/50th, and now you're in the 180-degree angle rule. What you can do is you can change your ISO now, so your sensitivity to light. 100 is very dark, it's not very sensitive to light. But if we bump it up, for example, to 200, maybe a bit more, 800, 3200, the sensor is a lot more sensitive to light, but you're going to have a lot more noise in your image. So do this if it starts getting dark, but that's basically how the rule works. Now if we take out a beautiful box of freewell filters, you're going to have an ND4, 8, 16, 32, a CPL, hybrid filters like the ND CPLs. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to choose one. Say it's cloudy with a bit of sun like I had here. So you're going to whip out the ND16. That should be fine. But if it's too dark, whip out the ND8. The ND8 will let in a bit more light. And if that's too dark, stick on the ND4. But if it's too light at ND16, put on the ND32. If it's too dark and you still want a filter on, stick on the CPL. That will get rid of any unwanted reflections and make the sky a little bit bluer. All these filters will attach with these two little hooks at the back, so be careful with that.
So you guys can see exactly what the screen looks like, but it is completely blown out at the moment. So when I take the drone and I look around, it is blown out, nothing is visible. Looking at the sky right now, think I should be having on a ND. Whew. It is winter. I think we can stick on the 16. So let's get the 16 on there. And you do it. You're gonna have to fight the gimbal a little bit. But let's get the gimbal down. And like I said, my hands are frozen. Let's get it down, stick it on there. And now I'm gonna look at the screen. And that looks pretty good to me. There's no blowouts in the sky. The ground looks okay. The important thing to do is make sure that the sky isn't blown out, because you can bring the darks, you can bring them back, but if you've got something blown out and it's completely white, that's basically game over.
Just to remind you, this is what a perfectly exposed image looks like. You can see the blue in the sky, you can see the clouds, the details in the snow, you can see the waves, everything looks good. But it's not always my artistic choice. You've got to remember, you can blow out the sky, you can make the ground dark, you choose. It's all up to you. And don't always listen to the exposure warning on the bottom right hand side. Look, it's on 1. Now it's on 0.7, 0.3, and that's because your image is constantly changing. So there was a lot of snow, a lot of white. Now there's a lot of trees. And this is a technical move, by the way, it's not cinematic, I'm just showing you. It changes, just like you.
So when I have that, I'm going to do a compass calibration, which I would suggest all of you do. So you're meant to be like 1.5 meters in the sky, and then you kind of twirl it round. If it says it's okay, trust me. Let's have a look. Is this a nice spot for it to take off? So that actually looks really good. So let's have a look at this. No, not enough space. And that looks quite pretty. Yeah, everything looks good. The screen is nicely exposed. I mean, there's nothing blown out in the darks. There's nothing blown. I mean, in the highlights, the darks aren't too dark. It looks really, really nice. Even if we look around, the sun obviously is going to be really bright. But if we keep on looking around and we want to fly, for example, in that direction, it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, like I said, remember, let that drone hover a little bit so that your battery, it kind of gets up to speed and it's a nice warm temperature, and then you shouldn't have any problems at all as long as you put in a warm battery. Now, if it's too dark, everything is too dark because you've stuck on, for example, not the N16 but the N32, stick on the N16. If it's too bright because you've stuck on the M4, go up to ND8, go up to ND16, so everything looks like it's properly exposed. And by that I basically really mean that the sky is visible, you've got a few clouds visible, and the ground is just not pitch black. If you want, you can turn on the Instagram if that's going to help you, but for me...
Did he say Instagram? I think he meant histogram. What a nutter.
I do it all by eye, and I have done all my photography life. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. It is really that simple. Stick on a few different ones, and if it starts getting dark and you still have your ND filter on, what you're gonna have to do is bump up the ISO. I've done a couple of films, like you can see this one right here, where I'm filming in the dark. I have a Freewell CPL on, and I bumped up the ISO basically, you know, and that's it. You know, I mean, if there's anything else you guys would like me to comment about or to talk about, then, you know, drop the questions down below in the comment section. And if you, you know, if you want to give my film a like and give me a subscribe, that's going to be pretty awesome too. Catch you soon.
So remember, it's an artistic choice. If your image looks good to you, it's good. I obviously have one of my best friends and my daughter's godfather to thank for this Peter McKinnon move. It's a fun one to try out if you guys ever want to do a fun kind of, vlogging move where your camera's floating. Anyway, catch you soon.